Hello, good evening, and guten tag to those of you that are in the live chat already, talking to me in foreign languages. Interesting. Welcome to Easy 8 Online Painting Club. It's a Saturday. Feels a bit weird, doesn't it? But it's been like a busy couple of days for me, doing things like exams and stuff, and then having to work around it. So I wasn't able to kind of get here yesterday. My apologies, but thanks for coming along today and watching. And if you're watching like later on and replay, then I suppose no skin off your nose. Thanks for coming along. It's been great. It's really, really warm in here in the studio this week, like it was last week. And I've got a fan on now in the studio just down there, and it's quite a noisy one. I don't think it picks up on the headset. If it does, do let me know, because background sounds like that can be quite distracting, and yeah, I don't want to destroy the quality of the live stream. It will cool down as the evening gets a little bit older, but do let me know if you can hear that, because it's quite nice having it on, because it's really, really warm here. Basically, my house faces east and west, so I get a full bore of sun throughout the whole day, and it heats up quite a bit in this attic. So yeah, it gets really warm. Anyway, really looking forward to this evening. I've been doing a little bit of work over the past weeks since the last show on my Trygon for my Tyrannid's army. I think I'm getting pretty close. I'm on the home run. So that's really exciting, because this project's been going on for a long time. Clearly, I've chosen a paint scheme that takes a long time. And what I'm trying to do is learn how to get through it quickly and not really drop the quality of the job that I'm trying to do. There's a fine medium, isn't there? There's like a margin in there somewhere of speed over quality, and I'm trying to find where I'm happy to sit on. Jeff says, oi oi, hi dad, thanks for coming along, cheers mate. And you can't hear it, brilliant. Because I've got a suppressor on my microphone, it might be that you can only hear it when I'm talking, and if I talk loudly and the music's loud enough, you might not hear it, so that's great. Might turn it to face me a bit more direct, because it is warm in here now that the computers are all running. Anyway, if you are new here, Easy 8 isn't a tutorial. There's loads of that already out there. This is just simply a place where you can come and make some friends over there or here with me, and you can basically just get your models painted, because we've all got that guilty hoard building up. It's all around me in here, grey plastic building up everywhere, and this is the place where you can come get some motivation, get some inspiration. Hopefully that would be lovely, or just a nice place to come and join in live, knowing that someone else is painting stuff like you are, and it just seems to never end. I get it, man. I get it. Anyway, my name's Danny. It says it right down at the bottom of the screen. We're not just here on YouTube, we're also on Facebook, we're also on Instagram. Did I get it right? Ah, nearly. And we're also on Discord, so if you want to join us for the Easy 8 after party after show, there's some links just down there in the description of this video where you can find us. So maybe drop us a like, maybe drop us a follow on Facebook, and if you really like what we do, of course, you can always subscribe to this channel, because every little bit helps. We're at the 56. It kind of up and down, sometimes 56, 57, but we seem to be settled at 57 at the moment. Yeah, so spread the word, because Easy 8 will grow when you do, and that means it can only get better. I love doing what we do in here, and it really helps me get stuff done. And I know that you guys in the live chat said, don't make the show go to a fortnightly show. I won't. Don't worry. It's all cool. It's all good. Anyway, I'd love to know what it is that you're working on tonight. So if you are working on a project today, do let me know. Drop it in the live chat. If you're watching it back later on, put it down there in the comment section. I read everything, and I try to reply to everything anyway. And you can talk about it on Facebook. Show us on Facebook. Come and join us on the Easy 8 After Party on Discord. That would be great. But yeah, just let us know, because I want to know what it is that you're doing. Anyway, I think it's just time that we probably head on over to the workbench. Pray that the camera is working. It was 2 minutes ago. The camera is there. Here comes my hand. Oh, you're kidding me. The camera is not working. That is very frustrating. I wonder if it's got something to do with the heat that's in this room. I'm going to come back away from the camera. And I'm going to go back into the camera. I'm going to see what happens. It doesn't want to do it, does it? Oh, you are a pain in the backside. A pain in the backside. I'm going to... Staff says, I got me a Jagdtiger. Very exciting. I'm actually quite excited by that. I want to see pictures of it when you finished it, while it's a working project, whatever, when you're doing it. Stick it up on Facebook. I want to see it. I'm just going to go behind the scenes here, and I'm going to try and make my camera do the thing that I want it to do. Let's see what happens. Everything's going to stop now. The music's going to stop. You can just hear my voice. That's cool. Come on. Don't be a pain in the bum. Camera's off. Sometimes just reactivating that camera doesn't want to do it, does it? Anyway, we'll carry on with the show anyway, because I can always show you what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to go back to the workbench one more time, see what happens. The camera is off. That is so frustrating. For the last few weeks, I've been having serious problems with my cameras on this show, which is really upsetting, obviously. We thought, I say we, because Kess in the community came over and helped me out to try and sort the problems out, whatever they were, to see if we could get them in, get them working, and they worked fine. And it just seems that when we go live, that this one just starts messing around and stops sending its picture to the screen, which is really upsetting. So what I'm going to do, because I've got the lead right here, is I'm going to disconnect it. It is now disconnected, and now I'm going to reconnect it. Because sometimes that happens. Anyway, what have I been doing? So I've been doing the carapace on this Trygon. I've been using 4 different colours on there. Been using black, a dark grey, a mid grey, and a highlight grey. And what I've been trying to do is use those colours to create lines to kind of paint an artificial sort of texture pattern. Excuse me, I just had my dinner. And it's really effective. It's really effective at sort of board game height, which is exactly what you want, I suppose, really. So if you've got them on the war games table, the sort of the appearance of that paint scheme sort of makes it kind of blur or blend a little bit, and it's really effective. And I've had some really positive feedback from some of the forums that are on Facebook. So if any of you guys are watching, thank you so much for being so kind with your words. And it's really working. It does take a bit of time, and the trick is to kind of get that process faster, which I've been working on. And as the armoured plates on this model get smaller, so does the work has to become more detailed, and that makes it way more time consuming. I've done the plates on the back, I've done the plates on its head, and it's got 2 armour plates on its torso, one up high, one down low, and they look, well, one's almost done. They look really effective, and I've been kind of walking past it sometimes and standing there and go like, that's really cool. When you look at it really closely and start taking it apart, then that sort of falls apart a little bit. It doesn't really look that great, but hopefully it will get better as I do more of them, and I've got a whole ton of them to do. Thanks Leslie, who gave them all to me. The claws are looking magnificent. Had to redo them because I did screw it up the other week, but what I've got now I'm actually really happy with. Still can make it better, but that's the whole point of practice, right? So today I'm just going to be carrying on with those carapace plates, because literally that's pretty much, apart from its eyes, which is a very quick job surely, those carapace plates and its base is all I've got to do. So victory is in sight. The end is near with this model, and I'm really looking forward to getting it finished. Let's go back over to the workbench and see if activating and deactivating that camera has done what I need it to do. It really hasn't, has it? I'm going to go back just behind the scenes one more time just to see what we can get done here. Yep, you can hear my voice probably in the background. I'm going to play around with the different cameras that I've got here. Let's see what happens. If I move to this camera, this is a camera that doesn't exist. Sometimes that makes it work. And I'm back. And I'm back! I've got the camera working. That is exciting. Here we go, straight to the workbench then. Oh dear. I hate it when I get all these technical issues on the show. I apologise for it being really rubbish. I will continue to work my hardest at improving the technology in this studio. If you have any suggestions, answers on a postcard. Anyway, Jeff says that I'm not building or painting anything, having a couple of days off after working 6 days a week for a month. Nice. Yeah, if you haven't seen already, Jeff he owns Purple Lion Creations, which is a bespoke model making company. So if you have buildings that you want in any scale, any design, will make them for you. And someone recently ordered an entire village, and I saw the courier parcels all piled up in your house the other day, and the picture you put up on Facebook. There's a lot of models. So yeah, at least that'll keep the heating in the house and the food coming in. So nice work. Well done. At least you got something finished. I've yet to get that done. Do you know what else I've got to get done? Is leveling up my table. Because that's really annoying. Okay, stay still that time. Right, so now that the camera's working, you can see my Trygon. So the back plates here, we know all about the back plates. If you've been here on the last few weeks, the back plates are all finished. They're pretty good. Still got to do the smokestack things on them, but I'll probably do those at the end. I've done the head. The head's done. I think that looks pretty awesome. My screen doesn't show it very well, which is quite depressing, but I think on your screens it probably looks quite cool. I've got these torso plates here. They're done, and then this one here is almost done. I've just got to finish it off, so I've got to do the highlights on them, but I was going cross-eyed when I was doing them the other day because I've done so much together all in one go. So I'm going to do these now, and then I'm probably going to move on to the claws because I think that they're going to be easier to do. And then for the last little stretch of all these carapace plates, I have got to go over all of this tail section, and that goes on and on and on and on, and it actually took quite a while just to get these black stripes put in. These black stripes, literally some black paint on the end of my brush, and I've just kind of pushed them up against the overlap, if you like, of these sections, and then just kind of, you know, pushed in some paint. I realise now that when I was doing the head and the torso sections, that actually it's probably too bold a colour. And that when I go over with the dark grey, which is the next transition in the contrast, the grey doesn't cover it as well as I want it to. So that's definitely something for me to work on. Anyway, I'm going to move over to Administratum Grey, which is my highlight colour. So let's get this nice and highlighted, nice and shaken, and then I can highlight. I'm going to stick it on the Easy 8 Wazomatic. I need a little splash graphic that comes up on the screen. Whenever I say Wazomatic, I need it to go Wazomatic on the screen. It's just such a fun word to say. That's how I roll. Okay. Bit of a shake there. I'm just going to redirect my fan onto the bottoms of my legs here. I am one of those guys that wears shorts whatever the month of the year it is. Whether it's snowing or blazing sun, I'll be wearing shorts. So even now I'm still hot. But having that fan on the back of my legs is very nice. Here we go. So some highlight grey. I'm just going to get a big splooge of this. I'm just going to stick it in my palette. I'm not using the dry palette at the moment. It is too big for what I do. And I end up putting, you know, you get all the water in. There's quite a bit of water because it's such a large palette, and it goes smelly because I don't use it all that much. So that's not cool. Okay, I'm just mixing a little bit of water in with my grey paint there. Trying to get the consistency down. Just trying to remember how I like the consistency of this paint to go. It's quite hard to remember. I know that there is a sweet spot when I get there. Okay, so I have in here already painted the black lines on the torso. In here I've already painted the dark grey lines over it and feathered that in. So what I'm going to be doing with this colour here, making sure I don't have megatons of it on my brush, is I'm just going to be coming in and just highlighting those edges, and then I'll just exacerbate the feathered approach once I've got this line in. It's my first go at painting for a couple of days, so I'm a little bit out of focus, if that makes sense. I'm a little I'm not that, almost like I've lost touch with it a little bit. So just got to slow down. Quite excited to get the show on the go, so I always kind of start the show a little bit fiery, and that can make me a little bit like excited when I put paint on the model. And I make sure that I can't calm down a little bit. ADD, man. Jeff says, like in the old Batman. What do you mean, like in the old Batman? Don't know what you mean. Okay, that's not a bad start. Just neaten up that first little line that I put in there. Just making sure that I get the edges nice and tidy around these little splits here. If you can see those quite well. I just like to trace a little line around them and extend the line up from the point of them. And it just kind of makes them look like they've got an even larger split. Like we said a couple of weeks ago, like a split toenail. Okay, I'm gonna just do the top of that plate as well. And with the greys, at least, if I do make a mistake, if I do go a bit crazy, or have a flinchy moment, which often I do, I can just come in with a bit of the other colour of grey and then kind of just clean it all up again. It is too warm in this room for me to try and wash the paint away. I come in with a little bit of water on the end of my brush and just try and scrub that paint away. It doesn't like doing that very much. Right, now that I've got that plate sort of picked out with the highlight, making sure that you can see it on the camera. Lovely. Oh, Wazomatic, like in the old Batman. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Yeah. Just gonna paint a couple of lines. Paint is drying in the brush already. Let's wash my brush out, get those bristles nice and moist. That's what it needs. Bit of grey paint back in the bristles there. I need like a little thermometer readout on a screen so you can just see how warm it is in here. Now I know there's probably places in the world that are watching this now thinking, oh, that's not very hot. If I was to tell you like it was 32 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever, but when you live in a temperate part of the UK, anything above like sort of 20 degrees is uncomfortable. I grew up with it being wet and mild all my life. And I'm one of those people that does not do well in the heat at all. So I like to go running sometimes. I don't run in the summer. I don't run in the day during the summer. I run in the evenings. If it's raining, I'll go for a run. I just can't deal with it. Paint is drying in my palette. Behave yourself. Right. Okay, so now we can see the little lines I've put in there. Stafford says he's run out of Dunkelgelb, like the guy from The Simpsons. Duffman says, oh no. Have you run out of Dunkelgelb? Have you really painted that many tanks? That's an insane amount. That's an obscene amount of tanks. Can you mix the colour up? It's probably quite a difficult colour to make, really. You want to get yourself on the internet and start purchasing, I suppose. You sort of slow you down for a little bit. Stop getting so much stuff painted. Right, next plate. Just picking out the edges, highlights. I'm actually being probably a little bit too neat here because the plate is so small. It's actually quite hard to see that highlight line, so I'm just going to make it a bit thicker there. That's better. that's nice. I'll do the feathering in just a minute. Make sure you guys can see it. You can. Jeff says then do it in undercoat, Staff. Do it in undercoat. What? Just paint? Oh, like the tank color undercoat, the red colors. Yeah, that'll look nice. Have a couple of just undercoat tanks in your force. It's like a slightly rusty red, I think. Okay, next armor plate. Really like this brush. It really holds a really decent amount of paint, so I don't have to keep moving back to the palette every 2 seconds. And then the last little plate down the bottom there. This is going to be a very time-consuming process, and I'm very aware of how many miniatures that I've got to paint with this scheme. So for me, it's really going to be about how I do the different models. Obviously, the bigger ones, like this Trygon, which is one of the most dominating models I'll ever have on the table, I want to be able to spend a bit more time on it. I want it to be able to kind of stand out. I want it to be that centerpiece of the force. Obviously, I'm going to spend a bit more time on it. But when it comes to the slightly, the middle-sized creatures, I want to kind of be able to speed that up with a little bit of loss perhaps on the quality. And when it gets down to the hordes, the Griblies and the Rippers, then maybe at that point it's just like it's a little bit of a wash and a dry brush perhaps. Okay, time to just pick out some of those little feathering lines. Just enhancing the splits. Now, like I say, if you were to look at this paint job up close, you would see it for what it is, which is not really that good. But the effect that I'm going for, like I say, is when you're a few feet away as a wargamer, looking down at the table. It looks really cool. Lovely. Okay, cool. Those little torso plates are done for now. I might come back in later on with that darkest grey and just kind of break up the boundary of that black. But it works. It works. It's okay. I'm pretty happy with it. I might actually just put some downward stripes on this top plate because I've done it on this one up here. That's going to come into focus, I hope. You can see that there's lines going in, up and down. So I might do them on this one here as well, just to kind of keep it all in the same sort of vein, the same sort of consistency. Bit more paint on the brush. That's looking really good. trying to make it not look so much like a World Eaters symbol. If you don't know what the World Eaters are or is, it is one of the Chaos Space Marine factions, the bad guys in Warhammer. Is it the bad guys, or is it just the really bad guys? Or are they the good guys? I don't know. But their symbol is a world with a fanged maw around it. It's kind of cool. Guess what they do? Yeah. Right, so I'm gonna come in on these claws. I'm probably just gonna work on this top one here for now. And as you can see, it's a bit of a mess. This is where the claw is here. It works really well, this scheme. I think it's brilliant. But you can see where I was playing around with a lot of the different shades and colours and things, that I got a lot of overspill on this piece here, which is actually the bottom plate, this brown piece here. So that could do it being neatened up. But do I need to do it right now? Can I just kind of come back in and work on it as I go? I think so, in the interest of saving some time. So I'm going to go to my dark grey. You can see my colours are grey here. So I've got dark, medium and light right there. The dark one is Eshin Grey. It's a beautiful colour. It just doesn't seem to have that opacity to really cover black in one go. It might be because I have to water it down to get the effect that I want it to do. Wazamatic time. But I have to water it down to get that easily feathered effect. It's actually quite watery. More runny than you would expect it to be, or at least in my head it is anyhow. So yeah. Stafford says, just going through my Yags, Hetzer, Panzer, Panther, and now my Tiger. Oh, Jeff says, try mixing brown, white, and yellow. Is that to make a Dunkelgelb? Chris, if Chris is watching this right now, listening to me be so barbaric with the German language, I'm sorry. Like, you laugh at me, so it brings you some joy. Here we go. For some dark grey. Let's get a big blob of that on the brush. Plop that in there. And I'm just going to pick up some water, and again just going to water that down. Clean the brush out. Okay, so I've got to the edge of the black here, not the neatest line. I can see a couple of bristle marks in there as well. Wazamatic. Yeah, sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a line of the grey in there, just so I can see how far I want it to come down, because it's actually quite important for me. I realise now that the light colours are more dominant, more present on the feature than the darker colours, where I've been actually coming down quite close to the edge with the dark colours on some of them, some of the smaller plates. It's actually quite hard to get those darker colours in, so I'm just going to kind of mark them in. I'm going to do one side at a time, I think. And then what I'll do in a minute is I will start feathering, also showing me how watery it is. I think I should need to apply a bit more water. Okay, got a lot of white on the edges there where I was dry brushing for those claws, so just making sure that I cover all that up as well, because those light colours are going to really stand out if I miss them, and it'll be really obvious. So I think it's Wazomatic, not Wazamatic, like filet o fish. You are absolutely correct. That is how I had it in my head. The Wazomatic. Perhaps I should like buy the little mixers in like wholesale and brand them up as Easy 8 Wazomatics. That would be great, wouldn't it? Yes, Stafford, like Man of War. That's exactly it. Okay, so I've done those little lines on there. Now what I need to do is just get a bit of water in there because it is still quite heavy. And now I'm just going to do that feathering technique, which is really difficult at this stage because it's ouch, I just spiked myself on it. It's such a small area to do it in, so I'm going to try and hold it as best I can. And then, yeah, that black is just cutting through. Might even have to come back in with some black and do some feathering. That might actually be the best thing to do there. Okay, that might actually be a speedier way of doing it. I'm going to thicken out these dark grey lines, and then I'm going to come in with the darker colours because they'll cover better, right? Over the lighter colours. So the black over the dark grey over the... yeah. So if I feather this colour now into the light grey, see how that works. No, I'm actually gonna feather the light grey into it. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's all I know is it's very warm and my paint is drying still. Okay. Keep it together, Danny. Keep it together. Okay, it's working. It's working. This paint is just drying, man. So fast. More so than the other grey. Stop. Okay. Let's just make this really quite watery. That's better. Have to come in right underneath here. Cover up those white bits down the side where I did all that dry brushing. I'll come and do the rest of it with the lighter colours of grey in a bit. Okay. Yeah, can be better. Can be better. I think I've done too much to hide the black now talking about it. Might actually have to feather some black in, but that's okay. It's a learning curve. I just want to finish this model so much. Okay, let's get rid of those dry brush marks underneath. Okay, I'm going to come in with the lighter grey, the mid-tone, and really bring out that bottom armour plate on there as well. Straight on with the Wazomatic. Give that one a good shake, and again a nice little blob of this one. Bit of water, and then wet that right down. Okay. Well, first things first, let's neaten up this bottom one down here because it's pretty disastrous there. Might have actually made it a bit too runny. Yeah, a little bit. That's better. Oh, I've gone over a little bit there. Let's see if I can wash that away. I said earlier on I probably wouldn't be able to. Can I? Can I? It's the one bit that I didn't want to ruin. Is right on the edge of the claws. Let's see, I've got some sculpting tools here that I might be able to just kind of rub that away. Come on. I've got a Luke trick here. Luke taught me this one. Is get a little bit of cleaner for your airbrush, and because the rest of the model has been varnished to protect the paint job, I can lightly rub at that area to remove that tiny little mistake. Now you can barely see it, but it actually overlaps onto the claw colour here. Not cool. It's very, very noticeable. So I've got some clean on the end of my brush. Lifting it away. But it will go through the varnish if I'm not careful and affect underneath. but got what I wanted out of it. There we are, lovely. Woo. Oh, that's emphatic. I see what Staff's doing now. I see what he's doing. Back in with the grey. You can see how long this is taking me, and why I don't want to do this on like my whole army. It is a really cool effect, but it's just punishing. Okay, so now I've got that. I'm going to feather with this colour into that darker grey that I've just done, and then I'll highlight, and I might even then come back in with some of the black and just feather that dark grey again, because I seem to have overdone it with that colour, like I was worried about it or something. And I noticed that the difference in the greys in the comparison to the black. So like the darkest grey is it's quite a bit darker than all the other greys, and is very close to the black. So when you're putting it up against this jet black paint, it's very hard to see the definition between the two. But this lighter grey on the dark grey, much easier. I absolutely made a complete show of that. Let's do that a little bit again there. It just breaks down the harshness of the lines where the colours meet, and when viewed from a distance, breaks it right down. It's really good. Yeah, hardly any pigment left in there. Where's my grey? There it is. Let's get some more of this Dawnstone back in. Just using small amounts at a time, just because it is so hot, it will dry. Probably a bit too wet. There's a fine line trying to mix this, the consistency of this paint that I need, and I never seem to get it quite right all the time. Now I'm concentrating because I'm not talking anywhere near as much. Okay, and now just the undersides. Excellent. And then a little bit of highlight. Okay, not bad, not bad. I mean, it has taken me like half an hour to get this far on that one claw, but whatever. We'll get there. Jeff says, are you going to put rippers on its base then? Yeah, we were talking about this the other week, weren't we? Thinking about putting rippers on its base because it's got a really large base to do some really cool stuff with. Being such a large creature, it occupies quite a large portion of that footprint, if you will, snake print. So it's very difficult to kind of do anything with it. So I'm probably just going to do some sort of, you know, kind of terrain like I normally would, and then put some rippers about it, thinking, you know, that'll kind of make it look a part of a larger horde, which I think will look pretty awesome. Yeah, that's the plan, essentially. Over to the highlight colour then. Give that a bit of a shake. See if I can get these at least drawn out before we go for a break. Well, I will definitely go and get myself a drink. Okay, starting from that top plate here, and take your time. Let's make sure that I'm actually in camera shot. That needs more water in there. Much better. I've done a very good job with those little bits there, but I can make those look much cooler. Taking those lines right out. Just like that. Okay. It's looking cool already. When it's all done, it's going to look so good. I know in my mind, I know exactly how it's going to look. If I'm just patient with the scheme, it's going to be worth it. And for the learning curve as well, it's absolutely going to be worth it. But I can't wait for it to be done. That a little bit, but that's alright. I can clean that up like I was saying about earlier on with a bit of the other colour paint, work around it, be fine. Bit more water in this paint mixture. Starting to cool down in the room a little bit now, which is nice. Okay, so what I'm thinking about doing on this plate up here, even though the black plates are working in this direction, so they're actually working in the opposite direction as the head. The back plate here, the kind of lines are working in this way as if they're on this side of the plate, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna bring in this color from the back here and make it really highlighted towards the point of this plate. Kind of gives the illusion of sharpness, and as I'm doing it, I'm just kind of feathering at the same time. And then that should help create the illusion of lines. Oh well, create the illusion of lines. It is lines, but yeah, a fake texture. Just try and work out how far I came up on the other side, because that will look odd. There we go. I'm just going to enhance some of those cracks that I've done. See if I can neaten them up a little bit. This one here in particular. I fear I've just gone a bit too heavy with it. Let's get the paint out of the brush. That's what's happening, is it's drying in the brush. Going to come in with the other grey, I think, and neaten that one up before I go too far. That one is a case of I keep on touching it and making it worse. It happens. Struggling with transferring the paint from the brush today. I know that's a paint wetness issue. That's better. Knowing how to hold it as well. It's a very difficult model to hold. If I just neaten that crack up, I think I have. Ah, I've just neatened it, yes. It was a moisture in the paint issue. I'm glad that's worked. I'll just highlight the edge of the spike. Get that ridge done on both sides. Okay, one plate done. Whew, that was difficult to do. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to wash my brush out here for a second. I'm going to refocus my eyes for sure. Let's come away from the workbench for a minute. And yeah. It is a bit of it feels like a bit of a weird day. I'm doing the show on a Saturday. Camera's still not being good. Fan making noise in the background, which I'm sure you said that you can't hear, but you know, do I believe you? I don't know. I can hear it. It's very sweaty on the backs of the knees. Stafford says, so shopping list before Friday, Dunkelgelb and a white spray can. Oh, do you need more white as well, do you? Crazy. I've actually been playing with one of my private projects, my little 135th Stuart tank, or the M3 Honey, or M3 Stuart. And here it is. It's all been primed. It all comes apart. The tracks are still not on there yet. I've got the Qantas scheme, which is the British, North African and Mediterranean colours for camouflage. So yeah, bit by bit, I'm kind of like dipping in and out of this Trygon project to go like, I need to have a break from it and then go do a little bit of prep on that one there. Dave Lester has joined us. Hi Dave. He says, how about a blood angel with rippers coming out of his chest? That's a bit offensive, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. That could be a good way of doing it, couldn't it? Like actually have some like mortally wounded enemy with stuff coming out of him, or just a dead guy. I'd quite like to do like flora coming out of them, so like like Tyranid, alien plant life kind of coming out of corpses and things, making it look like they got caught up in sort of thorny things or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that would look kind of cool. Anyway, it's time for a quick break, so if you need to, like me, walk away from the project for a minute and go refocus your eyes, have a quick breather, go make a drink, maybe you need to go to the toilet, whatever it is that you need to do, you should go and do it now. But whatever it is that you do, you should definitely go and change your paint water. See you in a minute. Bye. welcome back. I disappeared, I made a cup of tea, I had a yogurt, that was yum, and I managed to make it back, and I've been sat here getting the paint consistency just right. So I thought that before I do anything else, I'd just get these lines down that I really wanted to do. So bear with me just a second. There we go. Lovely. Whew, that was good. That felt good. I did probably as much work as I've done throughout the entire show in 5 minutes. So there we go. Just as we disappeared, got Stafford saying, "No, Dave, just no," because Dave knows that Stafford is a loyal Blood Angels player and doesn't like the idea that Dave suggested of having rippers pouring out of the open chest cavity of a Blood Angel on the floor. I like it. Anyway, also made myself a cup of tea, so cheers. That is very hot. Okay, let's put that down. Okay, so been cracking on with the Trygon. Would love to know how it is that you're getting on this evening. So if you are working on something, do let me know. If you do like what we do here, don't forget that you can like, follow, and subscribe. Every little bit really helps the channel grow. So if you do, please, yeah, just drop a subscribe. Just a simple button push. Such a little thing for you means such a big thing for me. That would be lovely. Anyway, I'm going to take you back over to the workbench. I really hope that the workbench camera is still working. Let's go give it a go. There she is. And there's my hands. Yes, things are starting to go well. Okay, so I've got a little bit of grey mixed in the palette over here. I had to wash the brush out anyway, but yeah, let's see if I can get the consistency right again. Still working on that same claw. And literally now it's this whole part of this paint scheme. I was actually talking to Kez on Discord the other day. It's this scheme that can become so demoralizing because you just gotta do so much of it that it can really frighten you away from doing the painting, and then you fall into that awful trap of just not doing it. So you've just got to do it. It's the only way, and it sounds really stupid, it sounds really simple, but if you're up against it and you're doing all this painting, you just feel like, oh, I'm never going to get it done, my painting's not that good, or I've chosen a paint scheme like I have, that's just so difficult to do. Just keep going. Try not to rush it, because it can be tempting to do that, and you do want it to look good at the end. That's why we paint them, right? You don't paint it to look rubbish, so do take your time. But if you're finding it demoralizing, press on, get it done. Dave says, I've started cladding the shed, having a rest now. Yes, if you've been following private conversations over on Discord, etc., you will know that Dave has been building a man cave in a shed, because Dave is a bit handy when it comes to making things like that. Tables and sheds and things, and it is set to be quite the place to go and visit. I'm looking forward to an invite, Dave. Every now and again I just get one of those light grey lines. I just press a little bit too hard and I get like a really thick line that goes down and kind of ruins it a little bit, but I'm quite good at rescuing them now. Just about having a moist brush. I've learned this trick since looking into all that dry brushing technique. Having a moist brush. It's not moist with paint, it's moist with water. You don't want a sopping wet brush, but you do want it to have a little bit of moisture in those bristles, and it will just help whatever paint's in there. It will help transfer from bristle to model. sure that I'm in the camera frame there. Dave goes on to say, all with recycled materials. Yes, that is, as far as I'm concerned, Dave, that's amazing. In fact, you know what? If you are so inclined, obviously it's going to be of your private property, but I would love to see some photos on Facebook. So if you do take some photos, pop them up there. I would love to see it. It'd be really, really cool. Maybe we can even do a couple of little live videos from your shed for Easy 8. Nothing like, the actual show here, but I like to put up a couple of videos here and there. And I think that'd be quite nice. If you're interested, of course, that'd be cool. Show off to the community, show off to the world what it is that you've done. It's getting harder and harder to get this paint off now onto the model. I'm going to do one side at a time. I think it's easier than swapping the sides around. Oh, keep that brush moist. You'll probably just wash a lot of the paint out of it, really. So I get some more paint back down in just a second. Oh no, still got a bit more there. There we go. Okay, to the other side, to the other side. Right, some more paint out of the pot. If you are working on something this evening, do let us know what it is. If you haven't already said, or if you've changed project, because some of you are telling me what you're doing. But if you're watching there secretly from the sidelines and you're working on something, we'd love to know what it is that you're working on. Take some photos, put them up on Facebook. Come and talk to us in the Discord server, Easy 8 After Party. After the show, come and join us at any time, free time during the week. You don't have to wait for me. You can just go on there and talk to each other as well if you want to. That's what it's there for. Some of you do. Staff says martini decals have been ordered. Cars will need repainting from black to white. Oh, okay. That'd be cool. Martini decals. I would love to. Oh, you said martini decals, not as in a brand martini, but as in branded decals for martini, like the racing cars. I follow. Yes, cool. I was about to ask, oh, who is this brand, Martini decals? I follow. Cool. Getting there. Oh dear, there we go. Cool. I'm just going to bring up the edges of these spiky bits on the top. Do something a bit more with that bottom plate there. It looks a bit weird. I don't really know why it looks weird. Probably just needs more highlighting because it's at the end of all of the segments. So just pick it out a bit more. That looks a bit better. Bit more focus on it then. Okay, that is one claw done. I'm happy with that. It's taken a long time, obviously, to get there, but now it's a case of keep on practicing. I'm not going to do the other side. I think I'm going to stay on this side and work my way down and get one side done. I don't know why I think that feels better, but to me it does. It feels better to go down this one side because then I can go like all the right hand side is done. That'd be cool. Making sure that my brush is nice and clean. I'm going to have a little sip of water. I've got some water down here. Because I am parched from all that focusing, all that concentration. I just been sat right by the fan, so it's nice and cold. And it's starting to cool down considerably in here, but the paints are still drying very, very rapidly, and it is causing me some serious headache. So I suppose now I'll go away from the highlight colour. I've got water all in my moustache. Yeah, I'm going to move back into the dark grey. I'm going to work on to these colours here. I'm going to try my best to feather in that black because it didn't work so well earlier on, although as I worked on it, it is sort of hidden really. I'm not very good at it yet. I want to get better at that kind of feathering on the smaller scales. Dave says, Staff, are you going to have a white beetle with a 55 on the front? I've got one around here somewhere. Ah, oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. I got a little beetle. Doesn't have a 55 on it, but it's all done in rusty, washed out colours. It's a part of my Road Pirates team for Gassans. We started playing our campaign the other week. Stafford won. Not the campaign, obviously. The first race. Did very, very well. I came second. I believe, Dave, you came last. Out of 4 of us, wasn't there? Yeah, it was a good game. We thought that Dave was going to come second and Kez was going to come first through pretty much the entire game. And then we did some stuff and things happened. Decisions were made and it all changed. And, oh dear, Staff gave me a fight. And then I had a fight and a truce with Kez. That was difficult. That was a difficult race. We got our campaign points or our championship points for it, and you get to spend them or save them. I've chosen to spend mine to add stuff to my vehicle, to my driver, to my car. And I think Staff's decided to hold on to this because he wants to have an extra car, but he wants more points to make that happen. It was very, very good fun. One of the best games that we've had in Gassans for a while, I think. Okay. No, that's Herbie. I'm going for Martini Rally Team. Yeah, I used to watch Herbie when I was a kid. Okay, I have my dark grey colour that I think is the right consistency, and I'm going to try my best to feather it in this time. As earlier on I just did like a bold line. Very hard to do. But for it to actually stand out against that black, there must be a trick to it I need to learn. I think it'll be easier when in the future I'm doing bigger models, I have said that I want to use the airbrush ink shader instead of paint, so that will be easier to wet blend because the ink stays wet for a longer period of time, much longer, so that as I'm doing this sort of technique here, I will be able to actually blend it in with the black more. And it might just be that I need to add a little bit of white to this grey just to kind of tone it down a little bit. I might do that on the tail sections, see what happens. Yeah, this colour shows up really well on the lighter grey, but on the darker grey, it's on the black, it's just not cutting through at all. So I'm sure I'm gonna have better effects if I try and mix it a little bit to bring it down. Because as you can see in the palette here, you can see that the difference between the light grey and the dark grey, so the middle grey and the lighter grey, they're actually quite close, but then the darker grey is quite a step up from that. So yeah. Oh, Dave goes on to say, have you sorted the colour of the tongue yet? Yeah, I think I'm okay with it. Maybe it'll be a bit better when I do a better job of it. But I've just highlighted the edges of the tongue with a nice purple colour straight out of the bottle, just to kind of bring a little bit of focus to it. I've tried blues, it didn't work at all. It looked awful. So I might just gloss it and see how that goes, and just kind of practice in the future. Yeah, I didn't want it to be too in your face of colour, but I wanted it to bring focus in. And obviously we were talking privately a little while ago, Dave, about doing some lines on the face to kind of just bring attention to it more. Really struggling with this colour here. It's drying, man, so fast. Get some water in there. I'll be happy if tonight I get the claws on one side done, because that will feel like a little bit of a milestone in some ways. I know that's not going very fast, and I could have in this 2-hour period, or at least an hour and a half I suppose, of the amount of talking that I do, that to get all of the claws done, but it is a lengthy process, and it does require me to be patient. Okay, I think that's good enough for that colour there. Gonna move over to the mid grey now. Jeff says, question, what's the top speed of a gas sans car in a straight line? Just asking, just planning. I have, bear with me a second here, I have the template, but no ruler here. I've got a whole pile of these templates right here. Do I not have a ruler at all? You'd think I would, wouldn't you? But nothing here, unfortunately, no tape measure of any kind. I actually have this is the average thing here. So actually on the mat here that you can see, that's a centimeter grid. So what is that? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 centimeters is the average straight turn. You compare that to the longer one, which is rarer, but in more competitive gaming, that one will come out more, come up more often. This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 12 and 18, so an extra 50%. Yeah, we do have the shorter ones, but we also have like other maneuvers and things, and you can see here that this one is what's it, about the same? Almost. This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a fraction. So yeah, about I'd say about 12 centimeters is average. Got all sorts of turns and things. Yeah. What will often happen when people are using the straight ones, especially to get a bit of extra distance on them, they'll combine it with a slide which slots into this taper at the end here, and this section here is an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters on top. So this slide takes its measurement to be the length of the long one. I actually move my Trygon out of the way, bring it in shot a bit better. You can see more easily here. Makes sense? So if this is 12 and this is 6 and this is 18, if you add that onto the top, you've now got 24 centimeters. There you go. It's all in metric. That's Gaslands for you. Love a bit of Gaslands, good fun. Right, back to the Trygon. Oh, a nice little departure there, that was good. Back in, let's get the mid layer out, back to the Dawnstone. Back on the Waz. Waz-o-matic. Love this part of the show, it gets really techno. Easy 8's gone dub. So in with my mid-tone grey, gonna neaten up some of those armour plates, adding a little bit of water for moving that paint around, transferring it a little bit better. Jeff says, rolling road ideas needed, Desert Road. Ta, you're welcome. Okay. Quite a bit of paint on that brush there, smooth it off. So I'm going to neaten up this top plate here, needs a bit more cleaning. And we'll do this side too. Okay, we're gonna tidy up this bit here and feather out that dark grey a bit more. It was quite a hard colour to feather with, mostly because you can't see where it's going, but because it was also very difficult to get to the right consistency. Every paint works differently. and yeah, that dark grey was a little bit harder than the light grey. So where I haven't feathered so effectively, I can start, you know, kind of doing it with this one. Stafford fulfilling his role. Wazomatic! I love it. Yeah, so what I was saying, before I got very excited there, is where I wasn't so good with the other grey, is I can feather it back out with this light one here. And tidy up any mistakes and stuff on the way. Same as on the other plate here, the bottom one beside the claw, completely covered over by the colour of the claw itself. So just try and tidy it up at the same time, making sure that I don't get it on the claw again like I did last time. There we go. Lovely. Give the brush a bit of a clean out because it's drying so quickly. I want to make sure it doesn't stay in the brush. Put a bit of water back in, and then get a bit of paint back in there. Here we go. Let's go a bit faster on this side, on this claw. So it just shows you what a little bit of practice does. Sometimes you've got to warm into it, and yeah, if you are like me sometimes, where I like to dip in and do 10 minutes here and there, sometimes it takes you an hour to get into it. I'm actually starting to really get into the groove now. I'm starting to really kind of find my zen. Calm down a little bit since the beginning of the show, but I can't help myself because it is an exciting show, if I do say so myself. If you are tuning in for the first time, please do like and subscribe and ignore the fact that I sound a little bit pretentious and full of myself today. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to go do the undersides because I know that doing the claw I probably got quite close to the bone there. Quite close to the bone. Made it funny. It's dry and quick in there as well. Let's pick that up with a bit of water. Lovely. And then just on the other side, on the underside. know that you can see to the bottom of the base there. I apologise. Lovely. Cool. Right, well, straight into the highlights then. Let's do this. Okay. Back onto Administratum Grey. You see now why I'm concerned in the fact that it's taking me all evening just to get these claws done, and I still got to do this whole tail section. So yeah, it's a long time. Oh, that's a good cup of tea. But whenever I have the opportunity, I do come in and I go, okay, you know, I'm just going to do that one panel, that one little armor section. I'm just going to do the highlights on it. And then if I've got a bit of time, I sit around and do a bit more. You've just got to keep on going. And that is why I made this show. Motivation, a reason to kind of do it all the time. Come and join in with everybody else. If you've got hordes of stuff that you're just not getting through because it's demotivating, come and join in. I know how it feels. Just gotta wash that brush out because there's a load of paint in there. Too much. Getting that brush right down to a needle point. Gonna really bring those edges out now. The plates are gonna get smaller and smaller. Great practice for that tail section. Needs a bit more water in there, struggling with the transfer again. Okay. Much better. Oh dear, yeah. It's making my eyes pop out of my head, the amount I'm having to concentrate here. Not being very talkative this evening, I do apologise for that. Maybe you're enjoying the peace and quiet, listening to the music in the background. But I find it easier to talk. I need to sort out my audio so that I can get a co-host back on the show. That's what I need to do. Audio is a real problem when broadcasting. But I have some little tricks up my sleeve. Watch this space. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Just going to do the back edge, the top edge of this plate here, and then oh, I'm in the shadow here. Let me just kind of get some light in there. There we go. Up that center spike. I need to neaten that up a little bit. Otherwise it's looking alright. There's a little chip here that unfortunately I've gone over the black that's in there, so I'm going to have to pop that back in at a later date just to make that particular chip look better, because at the moment it's kind of just, it's not the right colours and it stands out a little bit, well, at least to my eye. So one of those things I've got to go back in and sort out, but it won't be too hard. Oh, messed that one up. Yep, gonna have to paint over that. The problem is when they start to get really small, these plates, they are really easy to get wrong. Very easy to make a slightest little error. I've just made about 6 all in one brushstroke. Which is an absolutely nightmare. I'll see if I can go in and fix those up a little bit later. Okay, but you can see, as if I turn that light away a little bit, you can see a little bit better now. The actual patterning just on the top up here is now matching the patterning on the top on this claw. And it should look super cool when it's all said and done. But gotta keep on this armor plate. Gotta keep on. All of these armor plates on this claw, or I want them to be highlighted before the end of the show. Even if I make a mistake, it's okay. It's like I say, I can still go back in and neaten it up afterwards. So that's not really an issue. This is where I'm really trying to like speed it up, but try and maintain some sort of quality. is on these little armor plates I can afford to be a little bit faster. Because the detail is that much harder to see. Really have to kind of look quite close. And obviously the more that I do it, the better I'll get. Well, I hope. Maybe it's not that obvious, but I'd hope that as I do more, I'll get better, and my whole style will improve. I've actually recently been comparing what I've been doing recently to the zone threat models that I did, the floaty brain bugs, so many months ago now, when I first started doing this style of carapace. And I remembered that as I was painting them, my style changed as I got better at it. And it'll be interesting really to compare these of this model here to those particular ones. Just kind of see how that I've progressed within that time, and see how the how my painting, what the scheme looks like now. Because I think that one of the fears of any model painter is that if you're painting a horde, by the time you get to the end of it, you'll have something very, very different. I realise I've come away from the workbench. Allow me to correct that. I was supposed to just bring up that little graphic down the bottom corner. My apologies. I wasn't looking at the screen. Okay. Do you know what? I'm done. I'm done on that claw. That's those two claws done. Good grief. I honestly don't know how professional painters do it. Jeff says, nice. Thanks very much. I am going to spend the next 20 minutes or so doing the same to this little claw down here. It has one less plate than the others. These ones here have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, it should take a little bit less time, and I'm kind of getting in the groove. And I'll say, like, I want to get these claws done tonight, I think. Trying to not rush it, but when I find myself in the groove, it's nice to get that done. And I can always come back maybe tomorrow, and I'll do the other claws down the side over there. Dave says, well done. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that. She's starting to look really champion. And I've been kind of looking over the whole model as I've been working on this last stretch, looking at the yellow and wondering how I can improve it, because that is basically just an airbrush of yellow with a sludge of sepia over the top, and I'm wondering if I can actually start getting some sort of patination in there somewhere. Not entirely sure how I will do that. That might be actually creating some sort of almost like a tiger stripe sort of effect underneath the yellow. So I would paint the whole thing yellow, and then like airbrush in some brown stripes or patination or something that would hopefully would come up close to the edge of the carapace. So like for down here, for example, the pattern would kind of come away like the stripes of a tiger comes away from its spine and works down the sides, would come away from underneath the sort of the carapace, and then I would glaze over that with more yellow, so that it kind of blends away a little bit more into it, and then hopefully just with more washes over the top, it would just be this subtle effect that kind of pushes through. It's just one of those things that I've been thinking about. I actually tried to do some kind of variation in the colours on this particular model compared to others, where I, again, close to the carapace, I actually have sprayed orange, and it has allowed for a little bit of depth in there. Has allowed for a bit of depth. I have noticed that actually when I use orange on a white primer, that it starts off coming out yellow, so it might actually be a way to go, is to actually give a base colour of orange, like a light colour of orange, and then go yellow over the top, perhaps, or, I'm not sure. Not sure. some things to think about anyway. Yes, I think I probably will be still doing this model by next week's show. That is a bit frustrating in the fact that I'm always providing you the same content every week. I am aware of that. I hope that you're not getting bored with that, but I want to really persevere on this model because I'm getting so close. I don't necessarily have to do stuff with the base on this show. Once I get the actual creature done itself, I'm happy to push it off to the side and then do the base as an ongoing project, like I have with the Carnifex over here. She's been done for a while, but the base has got, I'll put it down to the camera, but it's not even on, but the base still is black and there's nothing on there, because I'm still kind of working on features to put on it. So yes, what would I do next? Well, I've got a whole box of Tyranids to get through. And I might start kind of picking out some things that I'm really looking forward to doing. I would like to do some Tyrant Guard. They're quite a medium-sized model. They're not the really small, like, not rippers, but not like the Gaunts and things. They're quite a stage up from that sort of warrior size, but they're big and bulky, and I've got quite a few of those. I've got some metal ones, I've got some plastic ones, thank you Leslie. I've got some flying ones. I'd really like to do like a brood of gargoyles, that'd be really cool. I've got some big flying beasts. I haven't got a Maliceptor or a Haruspex, which are two of the really big monsters that I would like to have, but I don't see reason to go and buy those when I've still got a horde to go and paint. I do still have loads of Astra Militarum to go and do. Astra Militarum, that is not what I meant to say. Adeptus Mechanicus, which is the steampunk Skitarii Warriors of Mars. I've still got more of those to do. So lots of things to think about. Perhaps I'll open it up to public forum and see what everybody wants to do. Maybe I'll get like a ranger and take a poll on it, because I'm happy to paint any of those. But I also want to make sure that I'm providing entertaining content on this show for you, so you guys can watch what you kind of want to see, which makes sense, right? Because no one watches a TV program because it's rubbish. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you ever so much for coming along this Saturday. I know it's not on the standard subscribe on a Friday, but I had a maths exam yesterday morning, one of 3. It didn't go that well, if I'm honest. I felt pretty stupid when I left. But I don't test well, so I'm hoping that I've scraped enough marks to get like a good enough score out of it, and I've got 2 more papers to go. It's a maths exam, so this one was a non-calculator one, and the next 2 are both calculator, so we'll see how that goes. They are my GCSEs. They are, I didn't do very well at them at school, and I've decided now that I'm in my 40s that I want to do good on that, so that I can do a degree in something that I want to do, just because I should be able to do that. And I'm enjoying it, although the exam yesterday was tough going. But because I did the exam in the morning, I had to go to work in the evening, and it was the only way to do that. And my boss is very forgiving with my time frame, but I said, I need you to do Friday if you want to do the exam. So that's why that came about. So I apologise for the kind of the break in the routine, but I always like to make sure that I have a show wherever I can, so I put it a day later. Yeah, I'd also like to apologise for the ongoing issues with the camera. Frustrating. I've got a couple of ideas in my head to kind of mitigate that, not to solve the problem. I think that's beyond my scope. I've got technical experts working on that, but I think I've got a little trick up my sleeve to kind of try and avoid that happening in the future, I think. But I will work on that so that it doesn't interrupt the show again. Yes. That's that. Anyway, before the end of the show, I always like to mention somewhere in the show a little bit about people who I like to shout out about, and I shouted about them last week because I was very excited to have come back from the Legionary War Game show down in Exeter in the southwest of the UK, where I met with loads of traders and other gamers, etc. So down in the description of this video are links to all of the people who I follow very closely. So obviously I've got John Takax out of this world models and minis. John did put a little comment on the video link earlier on Facebook, say have a great show. Thanks John, thank you for your continued support, man. He's recently released another video where he's done the Galileo shuttlecraft from Star Trek. That looks absolutely brilliant. I've yet to watch it, so I'm hoping that I might be able to sit down tomorrow for 15 minutes and watch that. John does some amazing videos where he just paints whatever he wants because he just likes whatever he is doing at the time and just wants to paint it up for the fun of it, and I admire that and I think it's fantastic, and his show is great. So do go and tune into John because he's an avid supporter of this channel and this community, and I wish I could speak to John more often, but you know, other side of the planet, man. There's also Purple Line Creations, my dad. Go and check him out even if you don't want to buy some stuff. Go and get some inspiration because it's incredible stuff over there. Colin Farron at Charlie Foxtrot Models makes some of the finest quality laser cut MDF models that you could possibly ever want, so like buildings and features and things like that. Go and check those guys out. Check that guy out. Go and check out Blots, who also makes a whole massive range of various different scales in MDF laser cut terrain. I recently bought some stuff with Gaslands from him. Go and check out Last Man Last Bullet. Go and check out Graham Henderson at Wet Palette Miniatures. There's Blightforge Minis. Man, seriously, there's a whole column of links to go and have a look, and I put them there because I follow them and I think they're really cool, and I've spoken with all of the people who run those businesses and they're really nice people. Go and check them out because they're awesome. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the end of today's show. Me struggling with greys on more armor plates again. It's starting to get cooler in the shop in the workshop now, so I think I might just stay in here for a little bit and do some more. If you fancy coming to join me over at Easy 8 After Party, then you can on Discord. Follow the link just down there where I'll be around to just finish off the last claw on this side of this bad girl, Susan. Until next time, stay safe, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care for now. Bye bye. Cheers now. I messed out the outro. Not supposed to say that. Stay safe. Be kind. Keep on painting. See you later.